Okay, now that the mics have been muted, I guess we can formally start. Hope everyone has joined. Just a note before we get started, guys, or before that, just want to wish you guys Happy New Year. Welcome back to everyone. Hope you guys are energized and ready for the year, ready to make magic and, ready to become software developers, the new age software. There's someone's mic, guys. I'll just quickly ask. It's been stated in the chat. Kindly keep your mics muted so that everyone is able to hear us. Is my audio low? Okay, I'm getting a message saying my audio is low. Am I audible? Can you guys hear me just fine? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. So maybe your volume is low. Okay, great. Nice. Other than that, guys, I just wanted to remind you and start by telling you guys that this is compulsory. Each and every one of you guys have to submit. So please pass the word on. If your chommy or your buddy is not in the session, please make sure you let them know that the submission is compulsory. And for essentially the due date for the submission is supposed to be on Thursday morning, but I'm going to move it to Friday midday, latest Friday 12 o'clock. That will be the final submissions. If you haven't submitted by then, don't be surprised when performance team or operations team get in touch with you. But otherwise, let's just jump into it. Again, we are back here. So if you did not submit this last year, we are here because of you. Okay, I'm still getting some messages saying that my audio is low. I'm really not sure. My mic seems okay, and to some other people in the meeting, it seems like my audio is okay. So I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can just try increasing volume, or I don't know, try the YouTube channel perhaps. Yeah, it's it's their volume. Okay, so guys, perhaps try the YouTube live stream. Maybe the audio will come out better. But for I'm thinking for bandwidth's sake, I'm gonna cut my video so that I don't break and I don't stutter. Okay. All right, thank you guys. So let's dive in. Thumbs up, everyone can see my screen. Welcome to your first Meta-powered assisted document. Thank you for those thumbs up. Okay, we are back here, guys. So let's quickly chat about this and why we are here and why we are doing this. So firstly, welcome everyone to the session. In today's session, we're going to focus on building a retrieval augmented generation system, or rather, it's called a RAG system in short. And we're going to be using meta technologies to do this and achieve this. So the goal of this workshop is to understand how modern AI systems are structured to produce accurate, grounded, and reliable responses by combining language models and external knowledge sources. So by the end of this session, you will have a walkthrough on a complete RAG system pipeline, and I'll demonstrate how it works and how everything, how the magic happens. So I'm going to start. Last year, we sent out an email with the link to this notebook. Thumbs up that you guys have access to this notebook. I love the thumbs. Yes. So please make sure, guys, if you don't have access to this notebook, get your hands on the notebook and let's start. So I'm going to give just 1-2 minutes, gather your notebook, open everything up, and let's start. But while we wait for you, I will quickly switch over to one of the most important things that we need, and that's an API key that we're getting from Open Router. So if you guys don't have an API key, simply go to Open Router. You know, your homepage would look like this. You'd click Get API Key, simply click API Key. I have my API key. Generate an API key or create a new API key. Save your API key. Don't share it with your mom. Don't share it with your dad or your brother or your sister. Keep it to yourself. It's your API key. It's really, really, really private. Okay, in the chat, I'm seeing that there's some people who don't have a notebook. So if there's anybody out there to redirect, an email was sent last year, and yeah, all the links, all the information are within the email. What if you did submit last year? Do you have to resubmit it? If you submitted last year, you don't even have to be in these sessions. These sessions are essentially for people who did not submit. Hence, I said we are here because not all of you guys submitted. So we're going to do this again. I'm having another session tomorrow and another session on Friday at 10 o'clock. That will be my final session to walk you through this. Otherwise, being Within Code students and developers, I really think you guys have the capabilities of downloading the resources or the material, going through them, and you guys can really achieve them on your own. And because I know the Within Code curriculum is extremely difficult. So, okay, I think I've spoken for 1 minute and then we can jump right into it. So thumbs up again. You guys can see I'm on my Google Colab notebook. All right, got some thumbs up there. And then maybe let's start by talking about why does a RAG system exist? So this is the motivation, or rather the importance of this. And essentially, in a nutshell, these RAG systems, they exist because there's a limitation in standalone language models. So large language models are highly effective. And when I speak of large language models, you know, I'm talking about the core of ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, you name it, whichever large language model Google gives you when you search it up, all of these essentially use these cores. And these models are highly effective at generating natural language. And this is because we all know that they're trained from the internet and the text that live on the internet. So the mishap or the lag is that they have important, and I say this specifically, important limitation. They do not automatically have access to private or domain specific information. They can generate responses that sound confident but are factually incorrect. And we know that with hallucinations and bias. And they do not verify information unless relevant context is explicitly provided. So it can tell you, it can LLMs, or large language models in short, can lie to you and they can trick you. And you just have to iron that out by giving them that explicit context. Otherwise, a retrieval augmented generation addresses these limitations. So the system that you're building today is what addresses these limitations of not giving relevant context explicitly. They address these problems that our large language models have in such a way that you can't really have um, a domain specific information or private information. You guys are getting trained to go out in corporate. Say you go out to an MTN, a Vodacom, an FNB, specifically the banks, say ABSA. And with ABSA, it's a bank, so information is quite sensitive. But you still want to use an AI system. Only that you just can't use all the existing AI systems because information is very sensitive. But say you want to leverage that power of natural language processing on a specific domain and a specific context. So let's quickly chat about the definition of RAG, or what is a RAG augmented system. I'll just give it to you straight. A retrieval augmented system is an architectural pattern that combines two distinct steps. The first step is retrieving information. So its relevant information is retrieved from external knowledge sources. Secondly, it's a language model that generates a response using the retrieved information as context. So whatever information it has, it only uses that specific information. So in practical terms, RAG systems allow to retrieve evidence before generating answers, which significantly improves the reliability and transparency of your model. Okay, so what we're going to do today essentially is we're going to speak about 6 important steps for what makes this RAG system. So it's yeah, 6 important steps on what this RAG system does on a higher level. So number one, it chows your document, or rather consumes your document. Secondly, it chunks the document. It's a process called chunking. So it breaks down the document into smaller, meaningful pieces. That's what it does. So it will be in paragraph and things like that. And then we move over to embeddings, which is where we're turning this text into numbers that represent meaning. So this is more of a mathematical process, and we don't really need to go into fine detail about that. So it's embedding is just a process whereby your computer or your machine essentially it converts the text into representative number meanings so that it can be easy to find. If you ask a question, it knows which paragraph to go to. Fourth is we have a vector store, which is a database that stores the searches by meaning. Number 5 is the retriever, which finds the most relevant chunks. And number 6 is the generator. And this is where our Llama technology, our meta technology comes in the form of Llama. And we use this retrieved context to answer the question. So think of a RAG as Google search plus ChatGPT combined, but for your own data. And that's what makes it really, really powerful. Okay, so let's quickly start by taking a walkthrough. Welcome to your first Meta-powered document assistant. So here you can upload any PDF, for example, a company report, a curriculum, a policy document, and so forth. So ask after we've downloaded or you've uploaded your PDF, you generally just ask natural questions like what are the main goals of this document? What does this policy say about attendance? Summarize the key points in chapter one, and it will do the same for you. And I know you're asking, what's the difference between ChatGPT? Because ChatGPT can do this, and why can't I just use ChatGPT to do this? When we speak about AI responsibility or use the responsible use of AI, it's important to be mindful that the data that you feed into Chat GPT is out there actually. It's in the public domain. And in a point whereby you give it private or sensitive information, your information may be misused and manipulated, and it will just put you in a really, really awkward position. But in this context, you keep your information private. You lock it only for you to see. And that way, it keeps other people from accessing that information. And you get to leverage the power of AI to do this. So first things first, please ensure you have the following. You have access to Google Colab. This is my Google Colab workspace. You simply upload the notebook. So you'd come here and you'd come right here where it is upload notebook. You click upload notebook, you drag and drop, place your notebook there, and you'd basically see this page. Secondly is to go to Open Router, get an API key. There's a YouTube video, if you don't know, there's a YouTube video that can lead you into doing this. And then thirdly, a Google Drive link. So I have a link to a Google Drive, a document rather, and it's the same one as I used in my last presentation, which was speaking about the FIFA status of transfer on players. So I just want to put that up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Thumbs up, you guys can see the document I'm sharing? No, are you still on the notebook? Okay, I'm getting thumbs up. So we are moving, which is good. Regulation on the status and transfer of players. I'm a huge soccer fan. I'm a big Barcelona fan. So shout out to the Barcelona fans that beat Real Madrid this week. And yeah, I have this PDF document. It's quite lengthy. It's about 88 pages, and there's a whole lot of stuff. And sometimes reading all these things can be overwhelming. So perhaps I just want to inquire. I want to ask on a few things, or there's a section that I want to ask about. But essentially, I'm just showing you this to show you that this is my PDF document, and it speaks on the regulations on the status and transfer of players, football players. So let's go back to our notebook. In your notebook, it's very it has a seamless flow to how you should approach these. So we go with step by step. We're going to go through step one all the way to step 6. Simply read your instructions there. What you'll need is your Llama index. You'll need your Open Router connector, Hugging Face, embeddings, document reader, as well as your Fusion Retriever tools. So essentially, what are these? This is just us setting up the environment, essentially. It's just us setting up the environment and making sure that we have all the necessary tools, and all of that is on spot or on point, and our environment is capable to actually run this project. So what you simply do is click this run button, and you'll see when it stops running. But otherwise, yeah, it should print installation complete, and that's when you will know that you have successfully installed all your dependencies and what you will need. So there we go. As you can see, my dependencies are stalling and all my tools that I needed are installing. All right. Now, I know errors scare me as well. I'm a developer just like you guys. So errors are a big problem. And I have this pip error resolver, currency, yada, 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 and all of that. So what you'd simply do, and the nice part about using Google Colab is the environment is quite stable. So if you see an error, you simply click run again, and automatically your error will be resolved. Google will pick it up in the back end and sort it out for you. And just like that, I have installation complete, as you can see. So yes, now let's move over to step 2. Step 2 is setting up the AI model. Really interesting. And in this step, we're going to enter our Open Router API key, choose which Llama model we want to use, set rules on for how the AI model should behave. And fourth, we're going to set the embeddings module. We'll quickly have a look at that. There's an instruction here, and the instruction says make sure you import all the required tools and libraries into the cell below. These are essential for building your RAG system. We have a hint, which is all the necessary imports or the necessary code needed to actually get this step up and running. And as you can see, under the hashtag here that says, or the comment rather, that says enter code here, I've simply copied this code and pasted it here. And once you've done with that, you're done with what you basically need to do. Now, it's just a matter of understanding what's going on in this cell here. So what we're doing here is we ask the user to enter their Open Router API key. So you essentially put this line of code here just so that you can be able to enter these API keys. We then get other tools, more tools that we need, and that has been given to us already. And then here we choose which Llama model we want to use. This model understands the question we ask. It helps generate clear and readable answers. And that we simply do that with our Open Route connector. And we have this Open Route setup, object set up here. It equates to our large language model, which is LLM, is equal to Open Router. Let's look at the parameters inside. Inside, we are just connecting using our API key. Here we are selecting which model we are using. And for this session, we'll be using the Llama 3.37b instruct free. It's very important that you note that it's the instruct free model. This way it doesn't necessarily charge you for doing this. There is limitations. I think you have about 10 prompts. Is it 10 prompts an hour or a day? I might be wrong, but essentially that's what that does there. Moving on to maximum tokens, as you can see, we've set it to 512, and this is the maximum size of the answer. Now, I want you to understand that these parameters have been essentially set for my RAG system. So this is my RAG system, and the one that you build, you're more than able, or you're free to really play around with this number and see what the output is once you ask the questions. Temperature. So temperature is an interesting parameter. The lower the temperature, the more accurate. The higher the temperature, the less creativity. So wait, sorry. The lower the temperature, the more accurate and less creativity. The higher the temperature, the more creativity and the less accuracy. I think that sounds just about right. So lower means accurate and not creative. Higher means creative but not accurate. And you can tweak that up to see what your outputs will be. Right here is just our timeout value, which gives the model time to respond. And then this is one of the major or most important parameters here, which is your system prompt. Now, these are the rules that we're going to give our AI model. Similar in the same context that you tell ChatGPT before analyzing a document, you'd probably prompt it and tell it that you are a data scientist. I want you to go through this Excel sheet and give me the key insights. So we mold our AI model before we actually just throw prompts at it. And that's what we're doing here. And we've chosen, well, I've chosen this simple approach. And my master prompt sounds like this. You're an expert RAG system that answers only using the provided context. Never hallucinate, never guess. If the answer is not in the context, say so. Provide short, clear, factual responses with 2 to 3 evidence bullets. So essentially, I'm telling the AI how to behave and setting those rules. So moving right along to our embeddings, this model helps the AI understand text in the PDF by turning words into numbers. So we have this Hugging Face embeddings here, and it automatically does this for us. We don't have to do all the maths. Not all of us like maths. So this does this for us, and we don't really have to worry much about it. But if you have an interest on how it actually works, please do go and do some research on the embeddings process of a RAG system, and it will give you more information on that. Finally, we tell the system to use the AI model and text understanding model that we just set up. This makes everything ready for this step. And once everything is done, it will give us a confirmation message that says AI model is and settings are ready to use. So what you simply do is run this cell. And that's what we're going to do. Now, if you see, it's asking for my API key. Let me just get my API key. I never shared it with anyone. I'll get that and paste it right there and say enter. And now it's running. So it's doing its thing. With the API key, it's giving me access using the Open Router connector. It's allowing me to connect to the Meta large language model. It's setting up the embeddings phase and sorting all of that out. So we're just going to wait and give this time to run and ensure that, we get the correct. All right. Now, as you can see, I'm getting a warning here, but it's still running. So it's not a train smash. And there we go. It's doing its magic and doing what it has to do. So let's just give it some time. In the meantime, I'll ask, is there any questions so far? Is everyone following? And are we okay? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay. That's good. All right. Happy. So I've got my success message here and it's all green. Everyone likes green. It's looking good.
I have a question.
Yes, Musa. If you can please, you can type your question into the chat box and then I'll have a look. If you can type your message in the chat box or your question in the chat box now, and then I'll have a look at it from there, and then we can quickly tackle it from there. Yes, Zuko, this is the exact same thing we did last year. And again, as I said, we're here because not everyone submitted. And I don't know how I can express this to you guys, but this is a compulsory assignment. So please submit it, push it to your GitHub repository, and on the submission form, there is a submission form. We will not pick up that you've submitted it unless you've filled in the submission form. So please also fill in the submission form and get it to us. I see there's a hand up. Going once, going twice. Okay, no question. So I'll just carry on. Okay, so how do you get your document onto Google Colab, which is what we are going to move through? That's a question I've just seen. So we're going to touch onto that topic. So which is step 3, loading the PDF from Google Drive. So in this step, we're simply going to, or this cell rather, is going to ask you to paste your Google Drive link. This is where your PDF is stored. It's going to extract the file ID from the link. The notebook will figure out which file to download. The downloads of the PDF into the notebook, not so that the AI can read it. It will save it in a folder so that you can use it later as well. So in simple terms, step 3 is the step that brings the PDF into our AI workspace so that the system can read it, understand it, and answer questions about it. And our instructions are simple. We need to download the PDF file into the system. So we've been given a hint here, which is a function. And scrolling right down, I've already put my function right under enter your code here. Be mindful of your indentation. This is Python, so avoid those syntax error. It's a function, and look carefully at those indentation. So if you can see, we have this line of code here that says build the direct download link Google Drive using the file ID, and then download URL, and there's already some pre-code there that will help us do that. Moving right along, all right, this is automatic, so it downloads and saves the PDF for us, and that's what this chunk of code here is doing. Ask the user to paste the Google link of the PDF they want to see. That's just a prompt from the user to get from the user. Create a folder called data if it doesn't already exist, and that's where we're going to save, and then download and save. So I'm going to run my cell, step 3. And as I run it, you can see already I'm asked here, paste your Google PDF link here. And if you can remember, this is the link that I was using. So I'll simply copy that link and paste it in right there. Once I click enter, let's look at the output, and there. So it has downloading, or it's downloading, PDF downloaded and then saved into my data source.pdf. And yeah, step 3 has been completed, and we are moving. Let's move over to step 4, which is preparing the PDF for the AI to understand. So in this cell, we load the PDF into the notebook. The system opens the file so that it can start reading the content, and then it breaks the PDF into semantic chunks. Instead of cutting the document up randomly, we break it up into smart, meaningful pieces, almost like dividing a book into paragraphs and sections. This helps the AI understand the document. So if it was a book and we had 10 chapters, we can look at it as it breaks the book up into chapters, specific chapters, just so that when you ask questions, it knows exactly which chapter to go to. And that process there is called semantic chunking. Number 3, we add simple labels to each chunk, and we don't do that manually. We have code that will help us do that and achieve that. Number 4 is we prepare these pieces for searching. So these chunks will later be used by the AI to look up the right answer when you ask a question. So in simple terms, step 4 teaches the AI how to read the PDF in a way it can understand and search through accurately. The instruction is simple. Insert the code that will allow you to create a semantic chunker. The hint is given, and here's the code with all the comments. So let's look at the cell. So in this step, we take the PDF, we download, we prepare it so that the AI can understand it. So these chunks acts like paragraphs or mini sections that the AI can search through when answering your question. So here we import, or we get the tools we necessarily need. We then load the PDF from the folder where it's saved. So we load it into our system, and just under here, semantic chunker. So this is where you're supposed to enter your code. So you enter your code right here. And here we use embeddings model to help the AI understand the meaning of the text. Just like what I said earlier, the embeddings phase takes text and converts it into numbers. That's what it does. And these numbers are understood by your AI model. And all this is happening in the back end. So moving right along, create the tool that will split the PDF into smart, meaningful pieces instead of cutting it up into random chunks. So this is what we have here, and this bit of code is doing that. So the parser, semantic splitter node parser, is what does that. We can have a look at the parameters quickly. The buffer size helps keep small related groups together. And that's what that number basically does, the buffer size. Then we have a breakpoint percentile threshold, which is set at 95. So what this does, it controls how sensitive the splitting is. So when I say how sensitive, it's kind of like how strict the splitting is. So if chapter 2 has a little bit of chapter 1, how much of chapter 2 and chapter 1 should I split in that context? And then right at the end, it uses the meaning of the text for splitting. And the next line of code here uses the parser to turn the document into these small, meaningful chunks. And this line of code is doing that. And that's why what we call nodes. So moving right along, add simple labels to each chunk so that we know where it comes from. This is helpful when the AI searches for the answer. And that's what we're doing in this bit of code here. So what I'm going to do is simply click run. And now this process would take a bit of time. So I've loaded 88 documents. My FIFA regulations on the status and transfer of players is an 88-page long document. So the longer your document, the longer it will take. It's as simple as that. The longer your document, the longer it takes. Please do not try and sign in onto Open Router with your student email address. Yeah, it will not allow you. So use your personal email address and get that Open Router API key. Okay, yeah. So what we're doing basically is now we're just waiting for it to complete the chunking process and load these 88 documents. All right, I'll take any questions while we wait for that. All right, no questions, no questions. Super. So let's just wait for this to complete, and it would also take quite a bit of time on your end. And we are 2 steps away from officially saying that we've created a RAG system. And you can use any PDF that you want. Just make sure that the PDF permissions are public so that your RAG system can actually access the PDFs. All right. So yeah, it's taking a bit of time, splitting it up, turning those chunks into numbers so that the AI can understand. This process is essentially the heaviest process in our entire script here, because this process does the core work, which is taking the PDF or the data or the context that we've given it, splitting that up, and also converting those splits into different numbers so that our AI can understand better. Are we going to continue with AI stuff after the RAG system? We will definitely think about that, but I'm pretty sure there's a few AI projects in the pipeline that we can discuss around and see. There are 2 submission form in the email. Which one should I use? Okay, I'm not sure why there are 2. There's a registration form and there's a submission form. So just read that carefully. And also, yes, please do fill in the registration form so that when we do send your repositories to our representatives at Meta, they can track who you are and where you come from and who exactly you are in the project that you built. So please don't forget to do that. So there's 2, and I'd advise that you complete both those forms. Should we git clone the GitLab repo? There is no need to git clone any repository. What you have to do is you have to download the notebook. When you download the notebook, you'll upload it on Google Colab, go through all the steps, complete the steps, and once you're done with that, you will then save your notebook in a specific folder, which you will push to GitLab. And once you've pushed that to GitLab, you simply take your GitLab repository URL, and then you paste that in so that we know where your repository is sitting and where the code is sitting. Okay, let me just answer a few more questions before we move on. Um, how did you open the README in Google Colab? As no, it's not a README file. It's a notebook. So that IPNYP stands for Interactive Python, along those lines, and that's the extension of your notebook. So it's not necessarily a README file. A README file will have an extension of .rm, if I'm not mistaken. So moving along, how do we download the notebook? In the email, there's a link, and I think the notebook is attached in the email. So please look that up. If you don't have access to it, please feel free to email me. It's lawrence@wethinkcode.co.za. So if you feel like you don't have the information and you never got the necessary resources, just email me, give me a heads up, and I will make sure that I email the resource pack back to you. Okay, could I repeat the part about the GitLab repository? Okay, I'll come back to that. But if there's anybody in the chats that does understand, please feel free to drop the comment or the answer in there so that we can move through swiftly. Okay. Step 5 is building the AI search engine. So essentially, in this cell, we put together the tools that help the AI. Number one, it helps the AI understand your question. It rewrites your question into different ways, which is very interesting. Um, we can chat more about it later. But number three, it searches through the PDF multiple times to get your answer, of course. It combines the best results. So it will combine the best results to give you the most accurate answer and, yeah, give you the most accurate answer possible. So in simple terms, step 5 builds the brain of your search system. The part that helps the AI find the right information in the PDF, even if the question is difficultly worded or it's just put in some, it's a complex question. So that's what does that. And the instruction here is to set up the advanced retriever that will improve our RAG system's accuracy by rewriting queries, performing multiple searches, and combining the results. Our hint is right there. There's a block of code, but let's have a look at our cell and what our cell is doing. So now that our PDF has been broken up into smaller chunks, this cell builds the search engine to help us find the right information from the question. So essentially, this uses a method called query fusion, which comes from Meta's Llama cookbook. And if you go into the Llama cookbook, it will talk a bit more about query fusion, but we can touch on it now. Query fusion improves accuracy by number one, it rewrites your question in different ways. And we'll see that further in our demo or once we are testing our system. But it's essentially, it rewrites the same question you've given it. It rewrites it in different ways so that it can approach your context or your knowledge source at various angles to get the most accurate output or the most accurate answer. It then searches the document several times. It goes through your document several times to find where is this answer seated or where can I find this answer. And then it combines the best results into one strong answer. So after splitting your question up or, rewriting your question in different ways, it searches through the document using all those different questions. And with all those different questions, there's different responses or a different output. But then what we do is we do a fusion. And what we do is those outputs are then fused together or combined together to give you the most holistic, rounded or accurate answer possible. Okay, so here we download the special Query Fusion tool, and this is what it does right here. It's this block of code, and this lives on Llama's cookbook. essentially it's right there. It will tell you the other access parameters. So it's a matter of copying and pasting. And then moving right here, where we build the advanced search system using our document chunks. And let's have a look at these parameters. So this is our query rewriting pack. As I said before, you ask it a question, it creates multiple different questions from that one question to query your document. So we can look at the parameters. Here we have nodes, the chunks created in step 4. So if you can remember, all the way up here in step 4, we created nodes, and this is the parameter that fits right here. And then we have chunk size, which is essentially the size of each text chunk to consider. We have vector similarity top K, and this is how many top matches it looks at in the first layer of the search. So how many top matches does it look for when it does that initial search? And then we have fusion similarity top K, and this parameter essentially is how many matches to merge for the final answer. And so since we said it's 8, it must look for the 8, most relevant in the first layer of the search. It should then fuse those 8. And then our next parameter is number of queries. This is simply the number of queries you want it to rewrite. So it rewrites your question in 6 different ways for a stronger search. And once that is done, you simply click the run button on that cell, and we give it time to run. As it's running, I'll answer a few more questions in the chats if they are. All right. I'll then share my email address. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that, but it's simply lawrence@wethinkcode.co.za. That's my email, guys. Lawrence, just like my name, lawrence@wethinkcode.co.za. So that's for you, Balesa. And then how do we get our Google Drive link? So you get your Google Drive link by having a document stored somewhere in Google. And this document can be any document, you can choose it. So get a document, store it in your Google Drive, and then get the link. Say you copy the link, and that's your Google Drive link. Make sure your permissions are set to public so that your RAG system can access the document itself entirely. All right, thank you. I see someone put my email address there. That's correct. Thank you very much. Can it be any document? Any document. It could be your CV. It could be your curriculum. It could be some research that you're probably doing. It could be an article. So yeah, there is a part of the code that you will be changing, definitely. And if you got the notebook, you got a fresh notebook. So my notebook is complete. My notebook is complete. There's parts where you see the hint. This is the code that has to go somewhere into the notebook. And I'll let you guys figure that out exactly where in the notebook does this go in. And you'd simply copy and paste that, run the cell, and make sure that the cell runs successfully. As we can see, our step 5 has run successfully. We have advanced query fusion, RAG system engine ready. Great. Now we move on to the fun part, which is asking questions and getting the answers. So in this final step, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to type in questions about our PDF. Then we're going to watch the AI search the document. It will receive a clear, accurate answer based on the PDF, and we'll keep asking it. So we put it in a loop. We put it in a loop. So based on the scenes, the AI is reading your question, writing it in different ways, searching the PDF for relevant pieces, comparing the results, giving you the best possible answer to avoid hallucination and things like that. In simple words, step 6 is where you finally get to talk to your AI. You ask questions, give it answers, and conversation continues until you decide to stop. And that's what we have here. Oh, so the hint is given. This is the code that has to go somewhere into this cell. So I've already put the code into the cell. We can quickly take a look at what it's doing. So this function safely runs the AI search. If something goes wrong, like a slow internet response, it will try up to 3 times before giving up. So it's just a loop, just like any Python loop. When you guys say input, is equal to something, and that's what we are doing essentially here. The user question, we collect the input, and we let the AI do what it has to do. So this cell here, or this chunk of code in this cell, is nothing complex. It's now just allowing us to tap into our AI so that we can get those answers. And we see this here by the Ask AI to answer the question based on the PDF. So you can see your question is going to fall in there, and your AI will then do the work. We have some error handling that will also control any errors, or highlight or flag errors properly. So my RAG system is now running, and as you can see, it's asking me to enter my question. So my very first question is going to be, what is this document about? Just to make sure we are aligned here. What is this document about? Okay, so it's retrieving answers. Remember when we said that the AI takes your question and creates multiple questions. And this is what it's doing here. So these are the queries it has generated. From this question, what is this document about? It has created these multiple queries, and which are 6 of them. If you remember, in our parameter, we said 6. So it is, what is the main topic of this document? What are the key points discussed in this document? Can you summarize the content of this document? What is the purpose of this document? What information is being conveyed in this document? And all these queries relate to my initial question. What is this document about? So here's the answer. Question is given here, which is what we ask, and the answer is, the document is about the regulation on the status and transfer of players. This document is based on Article 5 of the FIFA status. All right. It includes other annexures that form the integral part of the basic text. The regulations cover various aspects, including solidarity, contribution, and third-party influence on clubs. So essentially, it has given me good answers, or the most accurate answer regarding what is this document about. There is no hallucination, so it's not going to go and say it's about, even though it's FIFA related, it gets some information from somewhere on the internet or somewhere in its database and says, yes, football federation and FIFA is about this. So we can ask it essentially any question. I think the next question I will ask it is, I'll try and be more specific. So let's scroll right down, and we can went all the way there. Say let's come here. Player passports is obliged to provide the club with which the player is registered with a player passport containing the relevant details of the player. The player passport shall indicate the clubs with which the player has been registered since the season of his 12th birthday. Okay, cool. So player passports. Let's ask it something about player passports. I'll come back here. What does this document say about player passports? We click enter, and it does its magic. Okay, cool. There we go. So our generated queries. So the question was, what does this document say about player passports right here? And then we have generated queries. The queries we've generated are in the lines of what are the requirements for player passports in international sports competition? How does the player passport impact athlete eligibility for professional leagues and so forth? So our answer is the registering association is obliged to provide the club with a player passport containing the relevant details of the player. And as you can see, it's essentially all the information that we just read. The player passport shall indicate the club with which the player has been registered since the season of his 12th birthday. And going back there, we can see that right here, right there. So cool. But here's another interesting approach. What if we ask it about global warming? So let's ask this AI, what does the document say about global, whoops, global warming? Okay, cool. Now I've asked it something completely out of context, something that has nothing to do with the PDF, and it has generated these queries. What are the main causes of global warming according to the document? What does the document suggest or how does the document suggest we can reduce global warming effects? And that's what we have. So completely out of context, the document has nothing about global warming, and our answer are as follows. No mention of global warming is found. The context appears to be related to regulation and legal matters, and so forth, and which is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So this is what you can do with the RAG system. And maybe you have a confidential contract that you don't understand, but you really want to ask, but you do understand the dangers of uploading a confidential contract to Claude, to ChatGPT or Gemini. You then build a system or use a private system like this. And that way you can query your confidential contract and, ask questions and get the insights and the answers that you guys might need. Okay. I'll open the floor back for some questions and for some trouble that anybody's experiencing. So if you do have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat or you can lift your hand up and we can attend to it. Okay, no questions. Can I get thumbs up? Is everyone okay? All right, thumbs up. Okay, guys. So it's important that you guys do these submissions as soon as possible. My take is don't wait for Friday midday. And if you don't submit it by Friday midday, it might really bring up you know, some problems, and we don't like problems. So let's stay away from problems. I encourage you to get through this exercise. It's seemingly easy, it's seemingly simple. You guys are working with the We Think Code curriculum, and the We Think Code curriculum is really hard. So this, I think, is very easy. It's doable. The instructions are there. It's engaging. Yeah, and you guys can get through it with ease. It's step by step. Once you've got the notebook, you follow step by step, achieve it. Don't forget to register. Don't forget to fill in the submission form with your GitLab link. I see you, Olwetu, you have your hand up. Olwetu, are you using your student email address? Please use your personal email address. Don't use your student email address. Use your personal email address to create the API key. So please, all right, thumbs up to you. Back to you, Olwetu. Anybody else having problem? Yes, the Friday is this week Friday. This is long overdue. This is something that you guys were supposed to complete last year. It's long overdue. even extending it to Friday is having a lot of leniency. So if you guys could kindly, you know, I think you can even do it with a partner, do it with a teammate, do it together. You can tackle it together and submit your own GitHub repositories. All right, mine says couldn't find your account. Okay, I think there's just some sort of um authentication issues that you might be having. Perhaps try and restart the browser, everything. Make sure your profile is logged into your personal account, and then jump onto Open Router, get that API key, and then you can use whether you're using your personal or your student account, you can actually sign into Google Colab, upload the notebook, and go through everything. I think I saw another hand up. Yes, the meeting is being recorded. I think you'll be able to catch everything on YouTube. Kosi, you can go ahead. No, if you submitted the project last year and completed the forms, you don't have to do it again. So if you completed last year, you don't have to do it again. So again, I'll say we only here again because of people who never completed. So look at those guys that never completed and please poke them. Tell them, hey, complete, complete. How do we submit? There's two links. Make sure that we've captured your registration. So we have your name and all of that. And then there's a submission link in the email that was sent out last year. And it was sent out to everyone. So please look through your inbox. Ask ask around. Ask your fellow software developer if you know which link. If they can see it and you can't see it, please share it with the people that can't see it, so that we can all have the resources needed. Are we supposed to move the notebook onto GitHub? And if yes, how? So essentially what you will do is you'll create a folder, and just the same way as how you push back to GitLab, you create a folder or you create a repository on GitLab, you clone that empty repository, put your notebook into the repository, and from there, push all of that onto the repository. I hope that is clear, but that is an easy approach. So create an empty repository on GitLab, clone your repository onto your local machine, move your completed notebook into that folder or the cloned repository. From there, push. Okay, any more questions? All right, I think we've hit it. The session was scheduled for an hour, and we are exactly an hour into the session. And with that being said, I hope this is useful to everyone. I hope you guys will actually take these tools. I did the same session with some students, and I got some really good creative ideas. There's a student who made one specifically just for code. So he made a RAG system where he could query his AI system about the code and ask really intensive questions about the code. And the tool is amazing. I think it was really, really, really cool. All right, so before I end the meeting, I just want to make sure that everyone is covered. And if we are, and everyone is comfortable, let me get some thumbs up. And if you're struggling, I'll be back here at 10 tomorrow. We'll be able to do the session again tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to seeing some really nice ideas come out of this. But otherwise, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you guys have a productive year this year, and just wishing you the best. May the code be with you. Thank you, guys.